Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. And look at this. Yes, it's summer in the UK, and it's raining.
Perfect!
Wait a second. Summer equals outdoors, rain equals water, water and outdoors equals WipEout.
Yes! Oh no, so close!
So let's talk about WipEout. That's a good idea. WipEout, eh? Well, this video was a long time coming, and there's actually a very good reason for that, because you see, a few years ago, I actually went out and...
You're not doing WipEout!
Yes I am.
No, you aren't! You're doing the sequel!
Actually, I'm not doing anything that you tell me to. So today, everybody, we're going to be talking about WipEout 2097.
Oh.
Or as it's more commonly known in North America, WipEout XL. Why? I don't know. Makes it sound like an expansion to me. I like 2097. Nice to have such a precise and exact year stapled onto a futuristic game. Now I can't wait for that year to arrive and have everything you see here come to life. In fact, let's cut the bullshit here. I wanted to talk about WipEout 2097 today because the original is easily my least favorite, and even though the succeeding WipEouts kept on getting better, I have so much nostalgia for this game I can't ignore it. It was pretty much the first racing game I ever played, loved, and got really good at when I was younger. The original WipEout was a launch title for the PS1 in 1995, and may I say, for a 32-bit system trying to show the world how futuristic and advanced PS1 games could look and feel and speed along with high-quality music on a CD, it blew people away. Yes, these cardboard winged things that look like funny hats blew people away. I don't blame people for thinking that though. The original WipEout was very ahead of its time. It's just very dated and not as fun to play now as it used to be. Like the original Destruction Derby, IMO. The physics were a bit wonky, the controls a bit too floaty, and even though the difficult gameplay was what made this game stand out from the high arcadey accessibility of most racing games at the time, if you so much as touched a wall in the original game, you'd be fairly stuck. Basically, you had to drive perfectly if you wanted any chance of winning a race, and if you're good at it, my hat goes off to you, but these are just a few of the reasons I prefer playing WipEout 2097, and of course, nostalgia. Oh, and the promotional posters for the original WipEout made the game out to be a Class A drug by calling it a dangerous game and showing two people with bleeding nostrils in a dark room. Nightmares! So yeah, WipEout 2097 is the better game and the one I've spent the most hours on, but why is it better? The core gameplay is very much the same. It was a futuristic racing game with high-speed flying ships that looked like funny hats. It had weapons and shields, speed pads everywhere, and a kick-ass techno soundtrack, and to be honest, this soundtrack will always be my favorite WipEout soundtrack. Highly recommend you search up the OST if you want to hear more epic tunes like this. Copyright is my best friend. And I don't know why, but I'm really feeling like a Red Bull. I don't know, I just had the urge to drink a nice bit of Red Bull. Red Bull tastes great, and I need to sharpen my reflexes. Maybe I should drink some Red Bull. I don't know why, but I'm really feeling like a urge to drink a nice bit of Red Bull. And I need to sharpen my reflexes. I don't know why, but I'm Red Bull. I don't know why, but I'm really feeling like a Red Bull. Fun fact. Did you know that we don't need Caddy's retrospectives to do some fun facts? Who made that rule up? Not me. So here we go. Fun fact. Did you know that Red Bull wasn't actually that popular in America until this huge campaign swept in on WipEout 2097, and the game is often considered to be the sole reason Red Bull became a successful brand in America? And they said video games were pointless kiddie toys. If anything, this game just tweaked and tightened everything the first had going for it. First and foremost being those graphics, man, they look great for the time. And unlike the first, which was rather dark and over dystopian for most of the game, this game instead opts for the same real world locations, but throws in way more color, more weather effects, and overall more memorable tracks that have been burned into my retinas from when I was a child. Complementing the ridiculously challenging gameplay that requires track memorization. Like Dark Souls or Resident Evil, it's easy to remember the ins and outs of level design when everything has a distinctive look and character to every part of the game. And I know it's weird comparing that to a racing game like WipEout, but the logic still applies, especially since the challenge is still very much based around keen concentration and memorization of the track so you don't ever slow down or crash. Speaking of crashing as well, who the hell decided in the dev team that it was okay for the ships to go when they hit something? Why do they have to make that donk noise and bounce right off? It's ridiculous!
You know something, Bill? We need to improve the physics in this high-speed hovercraft racing game. Yeah, Frank, you're very right. You know what we should do? What's that, Bill? Whenever the ships crash, they need to go donk, donk, donk. Even if they collide with something head on at hundreds of miles an hour.
If the ship's flying into a wall at hundreds of miles an hour, head first, they'll bounce right off and go donk.
No, that's dumb. That's very dumb.
What else would a ship do other than go donk?
Why donk?
Donk!
Donk?
Donk! Donk!
However, the physics engine was vastly improved from the first game. Ship stats actually felt different from each other for different playstyles when you pick your team. I'm Team Faizar myself. And many gameplay elements were tweaked to make the difficulty a lot more fair and different from hit a wall and you lose. The ships were still floaty, but felt way better to pilot. I reckon this was some of the most realistic high-speed hovercraft racing sensations in gaming at that point. And there is literally nothing more satisfying in this game than when you nail a really tight corner, but only just about, so that you don't donk into the wall, but instead scrape the edge of it with your wings. The sound effect, the sparks that fly off, the feeling of control that you have. I actually find myself deliberately trying to scrape my wings on most of the corners in this game just because it feels so good to do that and then come out of a tight corner in a fucking awesome speed. I mean, I like F-Zero, but I never felt like I was flying. This game, however, did that brilliantly. In fact, I hear people compare WipEout and F-Zero in terms of gameplay all the time, but I don't think they're that similar at all, and certainly not in rip-off territory. The weapons from the first game were back, and back with a fucking vengeance, because instead of just stalling opponents like they did in the first game, you could destroy them in this game. Seriously, you could blow up everyone if you wanted to, just to hear that glorious announcer erupt in doom. This meant you could also get blown up though, so you had to keep an eye on your shield meter. If you weren't careful on the track and crashed a lot, not only would you slow down, but you'd also risk dying, meaning you'd have to waste more time heading off to the side of the track near the starting line to refill your shield. An awesome Formula 1 futuristic twist on the formula, and one that added a new layer of strategy and desire for players to improve, and also get better with the weapons. But the weapons were so cool, dude! But the weapons were so cool, dude! My god, dude! The weapons were so cool! Dude! They almost added this element of kart racer power-up chaos with realistic difficulty and fast-paced hover racing, and it sounds childish and silly. Well, it was in the first game because you couldn't do damage, but here, you could do damage, and it felt dark and gritty and horrible, honestly, since in this universe, racing is entertainment after all. All the weapons had different tactical uses, do different damage, slow down opponents in different ways, and basically all had their place to make racers go donk. Missiles that locked on in front or behind you, rockets that fire in a straight line but in a three-way shotgun blast, small damage mines you could drop in quick succession behind you in a line, a slow charge plasma weapon that is easy to dodge, but if it hits you or anyone else, they die. The best weapon in the game that causes a snake earthquake. Oh my god, is the best thing ever. A lock-on electrobot that slows you down and slowly drains your health away. A thunder bomb that blinds and attacks everyone that you can see on your screen at that moment. And of course, shields, health pickups only when you're on critical health, turbos, and autopilots. And as weird as it is to compare this to kart racing mechanics at their most basic level, yeah, they're randomized on every pickup you get, but it's actually a lot deeper than that since you're stuck with a weapon until you use it, and unlike any kart races, you can't just use these willy-nilly and safely at any point of the race because of the tight corners, delicate control you need, and stupid fast pace that's easy to screw up. So if you grab an autopilot power, do you use it now and grab a potentially better offensive weapon for a dick in front of you, or keep it and save it for the hardest corners in the race without using anything else? Or do you use a speed boost right now, risk crashing into a corner but grab another power-up, or save it for a straight stretch of the track to maximize its effect? And it was even possible for you to avoid, or be aware at least, of particular attacks coming towards you because the announcer would speak out whenever a particular attack was being used in your proximity. Yet he never said it when you yourself did the attack, not making it confusing for you, and giving you that extra chance to prepare yourself. You'll thank him for when he says, and then see someone in front of you drop a row of them so that you can avoid them in time. You could also apply left or right air brakes around particularly tight corners for upwards of 90 degrees plus if you timed it right, and this is a skill highly rewarding and necessary for higher speeds and harder tracks, because yes, the speed classes did indeed return and it made the game insanely hard.
Well, bollocks. You have not played a hard PS1 racing game until you've tried out WipEout 2097 with the hidden unlockable Piranha ship on Phantom Speed class. You know what? I'm gonna need my hardcore gaming hat for this.
I mean, Jesus, the game required mastery at the time in order to unlock everything, so it not only appealed to casual people wanting a quick thrill, but dedicated players willing to see what was hidden away. And the game takes that logic to the absolute max. It's not only difficult to race in the first place, but in terms of actually beating the game, you pretty much had to come first in every event. And you can also get blown up if you don't pay attention to your shield meter or crash too often. You can blow up by running out of time before checkpoints in the race. The game basically wanted you to give it your all, not only to win, but also let you know that you can't be careful and you can't take your time just to play in the first first place. You need to be aggressive and ready to react to any situations at any second. At the time, the reward for winning in this game was to unlock all the tracks, speed classes, and hidden ships, with the ultimate reward being the Piranha ship I mentioned earlier. But nowadays, you can just cheat code your way to glory to try out any track at any speed with any ship. A lovely option for the quickness and fast pace the game revels in, and perfect for those wanting to just jump into a race, get a kick, and move on to something else. And of course, it's also great for unlocking everything at once, ready for a quick multiplayer split-screen brawl. Are you fucking serious? What is this? So you're telling me you need 2 PS1s, 2 copies of the game, and 2 TVs just to play with a friend with a link cable? What kind of backwards bullshit is that? The default console had 2 ports, man. Bastards! I mean, it is kind of cool that they went for a more authentic arcade cabinet approach, but they're still bastards! That's one of the few things I really don't like about this game, honestly, the multiplayer. There was no need for it to be this complicated, if you ask me. And I think there could have been maybe a few more tracks and a few more ships, perhaps, but for the time, the game was perfect as it was, and I can honestly look past all of that. It's very much a player versus game kind of game, if you know what I mean, boy. And it isn't so much about the multiplayer. It's not a multiplayer-focused racer. It's more about you trying to kick the game's ass and trying to conquer it. Very impressive for a racing game practically built around single player and doing it successfully. So overall, nothing really bothers me too much. At least not as much as when I go donk. And don't think I forgot about the other cheats, including racing as farm animals with a gaping pig anus and using an unlimited ammo machine gun that makes you slow when in use but decimates everyone. And you can see more PS1 cheat fucking around right now by clicking on the screen in the very corner or in the description, because I did another video about PlayStation 1 cheats, and WipEout wasn't the only series that was a victim to the mighty cheat book.
So in conclusion, despite future installments just constantly improving and expanding, this game was awesome for the time and it still holds up today, and that's pretty impressive for an early PS1 game, so there you go. And it's got a very special place in my heart, so because of all of that, this game definitely deserves the salvage today. Yeah. I don't really have much else to say, other than if it's your birthday or watching this video, happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.
Talk about Pixel Empire or I'll pop a cap in your fucking ass.
Ah, yes, okay, sorry everybody. Yeah, stay tuned for the outtakes. They'll be on in just a second, because first I'd like to thank the sponsors for this episode of Caddicarus today, thepixelempire.com. A fantastic site in which you can not only buy and choose between hundreds of completely original posters and prints from movies, TV shows, and video games, but if you use the coupon code CADDY on checkout, you'll get yourself a 15% saving. Which of course gets you a beautifully designed print and also directly supports this channel and helps contribute to the 3 videos per week schedule. So thank you so much for listening. Here are some outtakes now, and take care, everybody. Farewell.
Subscribe.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to
The work experience girl. Hey, Indiana.
Oh yeah, sorry everybody. Okay, before the outtakes come on today, so please stay tuned for that. First of all, I'd like to spank the sponsors. I don't want to spank the Pixel Empire. Jeez.
They might like it.
Well, I don't know, Dylan. Would you like it? I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Look, he's waiting for me to move. He's going to follow me. Look, go upstairs. Go upstairs, you silly animal. Even if they fly into a wall head on at hundreds of miles an hour. Fuck's sake! Stan, I can't do anything.
Bless you.
Thanks. That was the worst thing I've ever done.
No, it wasn't. That was amazing.
Okay.
And horrible all at the same time.